Blunt Cuts is a podcast fueled by creativity, curiosity, and empowerment.
We cut through the daily mess of life. This is unfiltered honesty.
Park your passive at the door. This is Blunt Cuts.
Welcome to Blunt Cuts. I'm CJ, and today we're live. Joining me, thank you. First time going live with Blunt Cuts, very exciting. Joining me today are the women of Minnesota fashion. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Lauren Krysti. Stuck here. Photographer, fashion, advertising, and lifestyle photographer.
Jahna Peloquin, co-founder of Fashion Week and style writer, stylist.
I'm Tessa Druley. I'm owner and designer of Tessa Louise, a company that specializes in knitwear.
My name is Kate Nelson, and I'm the executive editor of Artful magazine.
My name is Sarah Edwards, and I'm the co-founder of Fashion Week Minnesota, as well as I own my own experiential marketing agency.
Can we give these lovely panelists a hand? Thank you for being here, and thank you all of you for being here. It's so exciting to get started. So we're going to kind of kick off with talking about the growing fashion scene in the Twin Cities. It's Fashion Week, kickoff today. Where else would we kind of talk about Minnesota fashion? I'm worried about feedback so much. So, local fashion scene can kind of be insecular. How do we get all the various collectives and groups connected to show our support for one another? Go ahead.
But yeah, so just seeing what was going on, and people, we'd hear say, there is no fashion scene. What fashion scene? We're like, we know that it exists, but there are all these disparate events, disparate groups of people doing things, and we wanted really to bring them under one platform so that hopefully people interact and they're more exposed to what's happening here. So that was,
Yeah, I think Fashion Week Minnesota is such a great way it's such a great start at really collectively pulling it all together. And I know that I've been, for the last 6 years, a part of it in some way as an attendee. This is my first time kind of jumping into this side, but I do think it's a good start at bringing us together. But I think it falls upon us as a community too, to really make sure that we are open to when people need help and how to bring the voices forward of new designers. And I know that Tessa, a local designer here, perspective. What is it like being here locally? How are you feeling growth in your business?
Yes, I definitely feel growth. I think when you asked that question, I first thought, spread the love. I feel like if we can all be advocates for each other, and just that supporting one another is important, kind of like a rise with the tide sort of situation. That's really what I see being a big part of what Fashion Week is. Kind of someone that I meet, maybe that doesn't know that much about Fashion Week, I can kind of talk up other people, and then it kind of is a ripple effect.
Also been nice with Fashion Week and then even just the website. I don't know if a lot of people have checked it out, but an example of how it's been a really great resource and tool is there's a young woman designer that moved here recently and she didn't know anyone. And she's like, hey, I'm a jewelry designer, and how do I get connected? And it was cool to be able to give her this whole list of all of these incredible designers who might be able to shed light or insight into, how to get connected in the community here. As well as, people reach out and be like, hey, I have a big event, I'd love to work with a local designer. Do you know anyone? And before it'd be like kind of racking your brain and like, well, there's this one. Now it's like nice to be like, well, here's all of them in one nice little list.
Creative resource line.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun.
So, how do you guys support local design personally as individuals? I know that supporting local design as far as a shopping perspective, I'm so busy. I'm busy mom, busy 3 jobs. I've got a lot going on, and I online shop a ton, right? So I think that when I think local and I think about boutiques and things, I want to do that. I want to go out to my local stores. You'll all find a sustainable shopping tour in your bags, but I want that. I just can't make the time for it. But what I've found is accessories have been a super easy way for me to like gear into local design. So my earrings today, I'm a super potty local designer. Anytime I can go to like a big market or a collective where designers are showing together, I find I can make my most purchases. I got Tessa stuff, Scott Lehman stuff at, what was the one pop-up at the brewery, but there's constant fashion pop-ups going on, right? So that's where I find I'm supporting when it's more of an event opportunity, and I definitely personally want to get a little bit more buying local, but just trying to find the ways to do that. And I know everybody can't do e-commerce because it's expensive and daunting to ship out packages. Like, I get it. Lauren, how about you? Oh, go ahead.
I think it goes beyond shopping too. There's a lot that you can do with helping spread the word. So if you know someone who, wants to get a dress for an event, that you push them toward local designers, or you share a great outfit on Instagram, because not all of us have endless funds. And it's important to be thoughtful with our dollar, but we also want to go beyond just where we shop. It's funny, we were about to speak at the same time, and I was about to say pretty much the same thing. I know I don't have endless funds. I don't think most people do. But the cool thing about the world we live in nowadays is putting your attention towards something, social media-wise, verbally, just kind of spreading the word like that. It's like instant gratification that if you're at an event and you're digging it, take that picture and share that hashtag, and all those little things really do make a difference, especially when it's a group effort.
Do you find that, follow-up question, do you find that when people are hashtagging your brand, so Tessa is the designer for Tessa Louise, do you find that you are getting like actual sales out of it? That's what I'm concerned. Like, I'm social media sharing, I want to help people, but is it actually helping?
Actually, I've had some sales happen, in states not even related to Minnesota. I don't know who they are or how they found me, and the only thing I can assume is that they found me on Instagram, or in some manner it was kind of like a chain reaction through somebody that knows me through here. So, good to hear.
One of my favorite designers is Jacqueline Addison. I know we were just talking about her. I mean, pretty much whenever I have a special event, I will reach out and, commission something. And I think there's something when you're working so closely with someone and they're doing their craft and their art, it's just special. And it's not even fashion, it feels like you're wearing art. And I think that there's something where it does cost more, and why, and it goes back to we talked about this earlier, just you're not meant to be perfect and make all the decisions, but just move in that direction and try to support these designers, because it's hard.
And I think it's wearing a story, right? I think you're wearing someone's story, and that's a really powerful thing. A lot of local designers, if you follow their label, they're the one to meet you. If you schedule an appointment, it's not like they have, a staff, it's them. So you're really having that intimate time to meet the creator and crafter of what you're going to be wearing. That's powerful. You can tell that story. You can go on. I was in Lindsay's studio talking to her as she was kind of making things. And it's powerful to keep spreading those stories, and that's the coolest part for me. Like, once I know, money kind of, yes, you have to be concerned about budgets, but it's not that big of a deal anymore if I'm sharing someone's story. Like, it feels like a really a good thing. John?
I mean, I think the way that I look at my wardrobe and how I dress and how I shop, I do a lot of resale, vintage, thrifting, and that sort of balances out, the money I do spend on trying to support local designers. And, I have the occasional thing that I will buy from Zara here and there when I'm like, I need a specific, thing, and I'm not going to find it resale or local, but I think that's, none of us are going to only shop sustainably, 100% organic, and spend all this money on every single piece in our wardrobe. But I think you can find a balance with, shopping vintage stores and resale stores. There are some great ones. I think there's a few in the shopping
there
tour.
Are, and yeah, feel free to call out some others. I mean, I think people want resources. That's why they're here. So, yeah, please, like, call out your favorites. I know that Golden Pearl Vintage is still having kind of a local designer pop-up sale. Amazing stuff, one-of-a-kind pieces. Go spend some time for sure.
And shout out to the fitting room. I'm wearing a piece that from their new selection that they're calling the archive, and it's all local designer pieces from past years.
Oh, that's amazing.
So people can bring it in and consign. If you have a piece by a local designer and it doesn't fit, you just don't wear it anymore, it's a great thing. You can bring it in and give it a second life. So I'm wearing a piece from this.
And you do so well. I think talking about personal style and where you guys have kind of come through your personal style journeys. For me, it's utilitarian, and I'm busy, and I really have capsules in my closet, which makes it fun and exciting to find local staples. And Tessa's designs are some of those local staples that just, you almost design a full capsule for women. They could go in and just get your line, and it would be ready to go. For those of you that aren't aware of what a capsule closet is, I have 40 pieces that I mix and match, and that's what I have in my personal closet. Those of you that know I'm a wardrobe stylist, so I also have, about 1,200 square feet of other clothes. But my day-to-day, I don't go searching through everything on what I'm going to wear. My personal style really does start with, I got to get in and out of the door in, quick amount of time. I got 2 kids, never ready to go, and I got to just keep moving on. So to keep polished, I had to just preset my polishing by capsule. But how about you guys? Like, where and how have you found local Minnesota fashion in your stuff?
I do a lot of, I'd say, vintage. One of my favorite places that I feel like maybe it's under the radar still is Rewind Vintage. If anyone shops there in Northeast, it's so fun.
Rewind, such a good store.
It's really fun. And I think, another thing that's kind of fun sometimes is getting together and doing a clothing swap. Because you have pieces that are really special and it's hard to part from. And it's fun to know where it's going and that someone won't maybe love it as much as you, but you've kind of had your time with it. Arcs Valley Village is amazing too. They do a really great job.
Yeah, Arts has a program where they will, you can go in and get a free personal shopping appointment. Michelle Raven created that experience, but it's lived on past her. She's exited, but it's a cool experience. You can schedule an appointment with a personal shopper. You don't pay for that. You just pay for whatever clothes you buy that day. They put a rack together from you out of the show, the floor, and it's affordable. It's that they don't mark up the prices. It's what the Arcs prices are. But that personal stylist just really takes that time to craft a rack. And I know Michaela, our director, has shopped that way and absolutely loved it. And yeah, that's a cool thing for people wanting to dip their toe into vintage and don't quite know how to start.
I think it's cool that so far in this conversation, the underlying theme is add value in your own mind to everything you wear. And when you ask about personal style, I find that personally a funny question because I have realized, I've had Tessa Louise for 5 years, and for me, looking back, I realized that a lot of my choices in business have really been driven by my personal taste and how I do things. So for me, when I shop, I don't know how you guys shop, if you're strategic, what's this going to be worn with, blah, blah, blah. For me, I kind of shop, basics and then really bold things, and that way everything can be kind of worked together. So you're wearing all black and you wear that really cool bold blazer that is just a statement piece that you want people to
I'm
know.
totally basic and bold for sure. Any fun pieces that I pull in, I'm like, this will work with my black and white and gray. Awesome. So let's get started talking a little bit about that sustainability movement. I think we're shifting there naturally. Like I mentioned, you all have a great shopping tour in your gift bags, but that shopping tour is 8 stores that have kind of come on board, and there are discounts exclusively for this week. So please go take yourself on the tour, enjoy stopping at all of those shops because they really do have some amazing, beautiful.
When we knew we were going to have sustainable fashion be such a piece of Blunt Cuts Live, every single one of our panelists, when we reach out to them, what are your top 3 things you'd like to talk about on this panel about Minnesota fashion women getting blunt? And every one of our panelists had mentioned slow fashion or sustainable fashion or vintage, and how do we start that conversation and give people some tips and tricks along the way. So Michaela and I thought, wow, that's really great that we all kind of have this synergy, and let's absolutely make that a topic of conversation. But what can we do more? So that's where the Blunt Cut Sustainable Shopping Tour idea came about, and we wanted to give people a map to just go and explore the city in a crafted way through some amazing shops that we would partner with, and that's where it all started. And I'm so very thankful and excited about the shops that came on, and want to share a little bit about their stories. One of the easiest ways to start thinking sustainably is to buy resale. And Dawn Stinson at June Resale was one of the very first people we reached out to, and she responded so excited to be part of our sustainable shopping tour, because June is that place for luxury that you can get pre-owned pieces, give them a new life, have just amazing quality, fabulous prices, and just really continue the life of those pieces and keep them out of landfills. And all of the pieces in June have such a beautiful story, and I think that's the most exciting thing for me when shopping resale and vintage is this story behind the pieces. You know, where was this gown before? Who wore it? Where did it go? And then what life will you give it? And if we're talking sustainable fashion in its root, the place to find sustainable fashion is Hazel and Rose. Every single item they carry is sustainable. That means that all the materials are natural, recycled, or vintage, and ethical, meaning all the people who made the goods were paid and treated fairly and safely. Many of the brands in their shop can't be found anywhere else in the Twin Cities. They're so committed to being size inclusive. They carry so many brands that are unisex fit. They're just really passionate women behind this story. Emma is so passionate about art and music and, of course, her dogs. And Bobby's, styling, interior space planning, definitely on that side of trend and human behavior and artistic. I think this shop is just full of taste and integrity. So check out Hazel and Rose. So happy to have them on the shopping tour. I think one thing about all of the shops in this sustainable shopping tour, they're all just beautiful places to be. The aesthetics are fantastic, and these shops spared no energy when it came to making a beautiful place to shop. And Queen Anna House of Fashion is one of those places you walk in, from the beautiful contemporary art and this personalized style concierge service. When you experience all of this the moment you walk in, it's just a fabulous feeling and a wonderful place to shop. But the story behind Queen Anna and the involvement in the nonprofit areas, how many charitable organizations, how many causes, how many places they're having impact and playing a role. But they start with partnering with brands that really do the same, that have a philanthropic and environmentally sound focus. They care about what they're bringing into the shop, and that's what matters. And we felt that it's such a perfect fit to bring these emerging designers that they carry, as well as influential fashion houses, that are brands that are really making that extra effort. So Queen Anna is totally that place to check out for brands with integrity. So Louise was on our panel, fabulous local ready-to-wear designer, so inspired by building a community, and community over competition is really Tessa's focus, and she's always there to support other local designers and really create a network and resource of amazing designers to really fill any need. And Tessa's pieces are so inventive and beautiful. And some of my favorite pieces of Tessa's that I have are layerable. She makes amazing pieces that go on top or layer over others. And Tessa's another designer that, from that capsule perspective, you could literally buy 3-4 pieces from Tessa's collection and make them look different every single day. So Tessa Louise just opened a brand new studio, and I'm so excited for her. And she is part of our shopping tour as well as our panel. So giant thank you to Tessa. And she just is one of those most impeccable makers. Everything is just perfect. And she takes a real craft in what she builds. When we were talking about what sustainability is in fashion, I mean, there's the definition of having everything from manufactured to fabrics to threads to anyone touching the pieces that go into making a garment, fully recycled materials and sustainable. And another key piece for us was the maker and the slow fashion. And locally, we have such amazing, talented designers and ready-to-wear makers who are making pieces every single day. And the fitting room is one of those places that you can find so many amazing ready-to-wear pieces. And it's a highly curated little boutique. And owner and designer Kimberly Urich really did put her creative juices and flavor into this. But it's inspired by Minnesota designers, and for Kim, it's not just about her, it's about all of these amazing makers and what they have to offer, and she wants to bring that to the Twin Cities. So highlighting Minnesota designers Alma Mia, 3Jag, Fote, Gina Mount, Jolene Turvik, Karen Morris, Mandy, Scott Lehman, Tess Louise, and Bisque Designs. Just a beautiful collection of local makers that are elevating that idea of ready to wear. And these designers are the people designing your clothes, and that is an amazing feeling that you're buying a piece that was made by someone you can have coffee with and meet. And so yeah, check out the fitting room. Valise Boutique is one of those hidden gems in St. Paul. It's a really beautiful boutique, very European inspired. But the one of the cool things that I found about Valise is they also have a full apothecary and skincare lines that are so good for you and good for the environment as well. So I was just blown away by the blend of local and high-end brands, designers that have focus on quality. And this is where you find those staple pieces that you wear and wear and wear and wear and pass along. Valise is that place to find that timeless, classic, sustainable piece that you won't get rid of. Check it out. Such a hidden experience, like I said, over in St. Paul. And Angel was so excited to join on in the tour, and we're so happy to have you, Valise.
The idea of sustainable fashion, we've heard the word, right? It's out there. What does that mean, and how do we influence that into our daily lives or inject that into our daily lives?
I think that people really just need to prioritize how they're spending their money. And, we talked about sort of how do you develop a habit, and you just have to do it. You can start with something small. Arts Value Village or thrifting resale is a great opportunity to experiment. But it's like buying organic food. Either you are or you aren't, and you have to make the thoughtful decision to buy locally or to buy sustainably when it comes to fashion as well.
Well, and the idea of thrifting and knowing that that's such an easy place for us all to just keep stuff out of landfills, it's really what it's about. It's to reuse things, keep things out of landfills, and pass it along. So even if it's fast fashion you're buying at a thrift store, you're still keeping that piece out of a landfill, and to us, that's making a difference in the movement, right? And then there are designers that are making some big shifts in production and work conditions in their factories and materials, and down to, I was at London Fashion Week, and there's a developed this sequins that breaks down biodegradable sequins coming out. So things like that just I didn't think about until I started learning and finding these resources and being around people with such a passion to make change. That inspired me to, how can I change this, in my daily way, starting small, right? So
personally, I think that it's important that people realize that we don't need to shift suddenly to being 100% sustainable. It's really valuable to take even a small step. So I think it would be crazy to say that no one in this room is going to buy anything from Target anytime soon. But the idea that next time you do shop at a mass merchandiser or marketer, to just, when you do buy something there, just really value it and say, I'm going to wear this a lot, and I'm going to value everything you do spend your money on, because voting with your dollar is a huge, huge impact. That was a loud talking.
that was good talking. Good job. So let's talk about that. It is more expensive, right? To buy local, to buy slow, to buy fully sustainable. But what are you getting for the price? Like what are you getting?
One thing that I think is pretty cool about shopping local, and when somebody asks you, where did you get it? It's kind of boring to be like H&M, Zara. But to be, it's this local designer, and this was her inspiration behind this piece. And, I saw it at this fashion show and I bought it. Like, you have a story to tell, and I think that.
You're wearing that experience.
It's exactly around and being able to share that with people that you meet and start, a conversation starter. So.
And going back to what Sarah said earlier, it is an experience. You're not just buying an item of clothing, because the shopping experience at Target is much different than the shopping experience when you're working with a local designer and you're commissioning something. And so, you can balance both of those out, but I think very few of us would go home and tell a story about our Target shopping experience, or at least not a positive one.
One of my favorite pieces that I purchased recently was from Anna Lee, actually, who's like kind of the original MN fashion founder, and she made this really incredible floral headpiece.
It is amazing.
Crazy thing, and I saw it, and it made me literally gasp. And I think it's fun when you can have a reaction, and kind of like to Jahna's point, it was fun wearing it that night to Walker, to the avant-garde at Walker Art Center, because everyone's like, what is that? Who's it? I'm like, oh, this woman, she makes them, she makes all this other stuff, and it's like kind of a way to get her name up there. I was told that I was too old to wear it, but the one person, I'll be wearing that until I'm like 90 years old.
But, just wear it more. Yeah.
But I think, it's the story, and it was it's just the personal connection. She brought it over in this beautiful box, and it was just, I opened it in front of her. It was special, and you just don't get that one. And it was interesting. I was talking to a local boutique owner that's very passionate about sustainability, or talking about it, and she was like, look, Sarah, she's like, if you have, a blazer from, kind of to your point earlier, from Zara or something, but you're gonna wear it, and you're gonna wear it, and you're gonna wear it, that's okay. And she's like, and I also never want people to come shop at my store because they feel guilty. She's like, I want them to be inspired and fall in love with these pieces, and it's not about, guilting people to shop at my store. So I appreciated her bluntness when she was talking about that, and kind of our honest, transparent conversation about it.
Yeah, and I think if you start thinking about fashion and buying locally as more of an experience, if that helps you shift your mind a little bit, that it definitely helps me. I mean, I know when I'm going to pay for an experience on a museum ticket or an event, I know I'm going to a couple concerts like that. So if I start thinking about buying fashion in that way, where I'm meeting the designer, it's an experience, I'm getting this one-on-one, it's just a mind shift for me. It was. And I'm still building through. I do care, and I think once I started caring where things came from and asking questions, blunt cuts is a big question. That's why we're here. Is I started having questions, and I wanted to know more, and I wanted to learn more people's stories, fashion stories are a big part of that. So.